I just said, okay, no matter what, I'm going to get up every day and just work on this idea and just focus on just this one damn number. How many people this week, and growing that number every week. And that simplicity of it is kind of what eliminated a lot of the other like second guessing, I guess you could say.
Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Excited to have Bryan Clayton on. Bryan, how are you doing today?
Todd, I'm doing great. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So, wanted to bring Bryan on. He's had some inflection points that have really defined his entrepreneur journey, and so we want to talk about that. First, though, he's built his landscaping business up and went on to grow GreenPal. Now he's got a platform, GreenPal, with over 300,000 users and $30 million per year, all by just really rethinking what growth in his business could look like versus what it's traditionally like in the industry. So I love that. And I want to talk about, how you've evolved and grown GreenPal and really what it is. So Bryan, with that said, give our listeners a bit about your background and then we'll dive into what you're doing today.
Yeah. So started off years ago, just me and a push mower. And I would like to tell you that I was a natural born entrepreneur, but the reality was my dad got tired of watching me play Super Mario Brothers and said, "Hey, get off your butt. The neighbor needs somebody to mow the yard." And he forced me to go mow the neighbor's grass. And luckily he did, because I got paid $20 for an hour of work. And in 1995, that was a lot of money.
That was a lot of money.
And man, I was hooked. Right after that moment, I still remember it. It was just like, why doesn't everybody do this? This is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can just go find more of these and just get $20 every time and just do that over and over again. This is it. This is my lane. And so I started passing out flyers all over the neighborhood and got 20 or 30 customers that first summer and stuck with that little lawn mowing business all through high school and then college and then graduated business school. And I had to make a decision. I want to like be a lawn guy my whole life, but at the time, going through college, I had built the business into a decent little small business, 3 or 4 employees, and I think around $500,000 a year in revenue. And I decided to go all in on the landscaping industry and used what I learned in business school, made a little business plan, and then over a 15-year period of time, just working one level at a time, built that into a decent sized company, around 150 employees and 8 figures a year in revenue. And then in 2013, that business was acquired by a big national company that runs these landscaping businesses all over the United States. And after that, I took about a year off, figured out, okay, what do I want to do now? And I thought, okay, what would be cool? I think being a tech entrepreneur would be cool. And I had just watched The Social Network, and The Social Network, they make it look so easy. Mark Zuckerberg builds Facebook in like 15 minutes. And I didn't know what I didn't know, but decided, hey, I'm just going to see if I can do this. And so the idea that there should be an Uber for lawn care, that should exist, I thought. And why can't I build that? And so that was the idea back then, and that's what I'm working on now, GreenPal, which is the Uber for lawn care. And around 300,000 people use it every week for lawn mowing in the United States.
I want to unpack GreenPal, but first look, from Super Mario Brothers to pushing a lawnmower to building a company that sells to a national brand to now being a tech guy. That's quite the journey. That's pretty cool. And it's pretty cool to think that something like just pushing a lawnmower, your dad going, "Hey, get out the door, man. Bryan, you are lazy. Get out the door and mow that lawn," right?
Thank God he did that.
Yeah, and it just shows you, if you're a parent listening, if you're a sitting entrepreneur who's been dreaming about, I guess, being an entrepreneur, it just takes action, just getting out the door and starting that business. Talk me through kind of some of the things that you did to grow a landscaping business from just you and maybe a couple buddies, mowing lawns to actually being a successful business that's able to be big enough to get acquired. So, because you can't just be any company and get acquired as a lawn mowing company. They're not going to acquire somebody who's got a couple accounts.
Yeah, looking back, it's actually just like you said. It's like get off your butt and get moving towards something. That the last 30 years, I think I could describe it as the action produces information. And if you take action on just one little piece of something, you'll at least figure out more than you did when you were just getting started. And that's how it started with me, just me and a push mower mowing 1 yard, the aha moment that I made $20 for an hour of work. If I could get 5 of those, I could make $100 for a morning of work. And then just rinse and repeat, slowly working your way through the journey. And that's how it was for me building my landscaping company. It was just me and a couple buddies in the early days. And then I realized that, man, a this isn't actually lawn mowing. This is like a game of labor hours. And I
Mm.
had to figure out a way to sell these unit of labor hours profitably.
Mm.
And it's like, okay, so it's just me and my buddy mowing yards, but it's actually two of us in the truck every day for 8 hours. That's actually 16 labor hours that I got to sell. And what do I need to get for that to pay all of my expenses? And so it's like the lawn mowing business is awesome because it's a business anybody can get into, and you learn 80 or 90% of what goes into building any business. And
Yeah.
and whether it's recovery of overhead and what your gross margin is, and things like unit economics and marketing and customer service and organization, all these things I was just kind of learning as I was building it. And I guess it was like maybe year 5 that I kind of had another aha moment that I realized, okay, I'm not actually in the landscaping business at all. I'm in the sales business. I got to figure out a way to generate a recurring, repeatable process at the core of this business where I can sell more of the jobs that I really want. Because I was trying to transition the business from a residential lawn business to a commercial landscaping maintenance company, that did office parks and
Mm.
airports and apartments and things like that. And I had to figure out a way to develop a sales engine to connect what it is I was doing with the people that needed those services. And so that was something I figured out, but it took another 2 or 3 years to get right.
Yep.
And then after I figured that out, it really was an inflection point. We went from 1 to 3 to 5 to 10 million. And when the business was acquired, we had a sales team of four full-time salespeople. That's all they did was prospect work and go out and get us new contracts. And if you don't have kind of growth engine at the core of whatever your business is, it's going to be hard to break out from being self-employed to having a company to having a business.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously you went through that process with us really quickly, right? That took you a minute and a half to describe. It didn't take you a minute and a half to build, right? So I want the listeners to understand that this didn't grow over just a short period of time, but what really sounds like made you successful, like made your company truly grow. I'm sure you had some success before that. You were doing good. Things were going well. But when you had this paradigm shift that said, look, I'm not running a landscaping business, I'm running a sales and marketing machine. And if I do that, then my landscaping clientele is going to grow, and then the business is going to grow. Is that, am I?
Truly,
Yeah.
truly. And part of that is the self-reflection and discovery process of what it is that your business does better and different than competitors, and
Mm.
what your value proposition truly is. And most people get that wrong, don't even know what their value proposition is. And I used to think that, oh, well, we got clean trucks. Our trucks are clean. Our
Yeah.
our 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 employees wear uniforms. Uh, we sharpen our lawnmower blades. I used to think that was value proposition. Customer doesn't care about any of those things. That's all table stakes. Like, that's not a differentiator. And I really kind of like look in the mirror and understand that my business actually wasn't differentiated, and my business wasn't that great. That we were actually just in a red ocean selling a commodity in a race to the bottom and slugging it out with everybody else competing on price. And so in a weird way, kind of going through that was like it was like a personal development thing because
Mm.
I was very entangled. My self worth and the business's worth were intertwined, and so it's kind of like, wow, what you've spent the last 8 or 9 years building is really not that great. Yeah, you're providing a service, but it's no different than the 20 other people that your customers can call. I had to kind of go through that process, that self reflection, and kind of rebuild the business from the inside out and try to figure out a way to differentiate what it is we were doing from what our competitors were doing.
Did did you in the landscaping business then did you ever find that value proposition that you're talking about?
What we ended up after about 3 years of banging our head against the wall, I began to just say, okay, if I was sitting on the other side of the table and I was looking for a landscaping contractor, what would I be looking for and what would make me say yes?
Mm.
And it wasn't until then that I began to understand how to speak to potential clientele. And so I'll give you some examples. So uh, one example was McDonald's. One of the first regional contracts we got was McDonald's. And at the time of selling the business, we were doing 200 locations for them and multiple six figures a year in revenue.
Well,
But it started with just one store. And what we did was is we said, okay, we believe that if we use the landscape every week and also clean up the cigarette butts in the drive-through every week, that you'll sell more extra value meal upgrades. And this hit me while I was in the drive-through of a McDonald's. So I looked down and it's just like it was just garbage everywhere, cigarette butts everywhere, chewing gum everywhere. But if I can train my crew to clean that up, leave it spotless every week, we believe you'll get an increase in upsells. And I don't know if that actually borne out or not, but just even speaking that way got us the contract on that one location. And then
mm.
that teed us up for a presentation for the franchisers meeting of the region. And we proposed that solution of we're not just a lawn mowing service. We are in business with you to help you increase same store sales. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to clean the drive through every week. We're going to install seasonal color at these points because we believe it'll draw people. We're going to we had two or three other things, and it was just changing the conversation of we're the cheapest lawn guy you can get to we are in business with you. And we carried that through all the way to office parks, apartment complexes. We would start a conversation with an apartment manager of what is your occupancy rate. Believe
Mm.
we can take it from 88% to 93. We did it for this property. Here's how we did it. And then that changes the conversation of okay, we're gonna charge you X number of dollars per week to we're a partner with you. And it took years to figure that out. It was harder to sell that way, but it ended up to more meetings, more sales, more retention, and better retention, and a more valuable business.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
and
So,
and and happier everybody, by the way. Happier customers, happier
mm.
employees, because a business with less turnover is just a more fun place to be around.
Well, and if that's truly your and your employees' mindset, is how are we actually making this other business, more money by how we show up? So like
Exactly.
that you're going, hey, we're going to do this and we're driving their revenue. Now you're excited. Now it's a challenge too. So I think that's a great way to look at things. And I really love that you talked about what is your differentiator? Like, how are you doing things differently? Because as you said, it's a race to the bottom. Otherwise, there's a ton of landscaping companies. It's not a super high barrier of entry. I mean, yeah, sure, you've got equipment, but you can start with the lawnmower, like,
Yep.
and then you can just continue to grow it. So it's not a huge barrier of entry. There's a ton of companies, by the way, there's a ton of industries like that. That's just not that huge of a barrier of entry, and you have to somehow be a differentiator. What's your value prop? And you didn't say I'm going to have the highest quality, although that was probably part of what you guys wanted to do is have high quality. But you said our value prop is we are adding revenue to your company.
Exactly.
That's what we do. We drive
What's
revenue to your
keeping that
company.
customer up at night?
Yeah.
What's keeping that customer up at night? What is the hair on fire problem they have? Let's start there, because you're right. Like, oh, high quality, integrity, uh, honor, or promptness. Everybody expects these things.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
why would I hire somebody who doesn't deliver
Right.
quality? Why would you even waste my time saying that? No, what the store manager of a fast food restaurant cares about is they're not going to hit their numbers that quarter, and for whatever reason. And if there is some redneck hick that is talking their language about mowing the yard and helping them hit their numbers, they're going to take that meeting, not the other 20 guys saying, "Hey, I can save you some money," which is what we were doing, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And it got nowhere. Well, I mean, we built some kind of business doing that, but it
Yeah.
wasn't a durable business.
Yeah, but it's a race to the bottom again. It's like,
Exactly.
and who's the guy that's going to call them next year and say, "Hey, I know you're using this company, but we can beat their prices. We've done it at these other properties." Because
Yeah.
they're going to get that call every single year. "Hey, we'd love to give you a
Exactly.
quote. We know we can beat that price."
Exactly. And so if you're delivering, or at least speaking the language of
Yeah.
delivering business results, they're not even going to take that call because it's going to cost them money to change.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. Let's talk about Green Pal. So I think it's fascinating. You went from running a landscaping business, service based. I think everybody that thinks of landscaping, it's a get your hands dirty. It's not a high tech business. And then now you're a tech entrepreneur with Green Pal. So what was that kind of shift that it got you to go, "Okay, I want to be a tech entrepreneur now"?
Yeah, it was naivete as an asset. It was I not know what I did not know. Therefore, I was foolish enough to even attempt to get started at doing this. And so I was
Has it
very
been worth it
for
though?
looking back, yes. But
Yeah.
if I had known then what I know now, I would have never done it. And
Mm.
and so I'm glad I did, and I'm glad that I was not, because it was a slog and a grind for about 7 years.
Yeah.
But that said, I had built and sold my landscaping business, and I didn't really have to work anymore. I wasn't like super wealthy or anything, but I had enough money where in enough where I could kind of just hang it up. And I actually tried that for about a year, and things got existential real quick. I realized, like, I needed another mission. I needed another
Hmm.
purpose. I
Yeah.
needed another reason. Like, if I don't get out of bed in the morning, why does it matter? And so I wanted to start another company. And like I mentioned, saw the social network, and that looked so cool. How those guys built something that millions of people were using, and I thought, man, that would be really neat. And I always had the idea that it should just be easy to order a lawn mowing service from your phone.
Hmm.
And so told two friends about it. They said, well, I'll quit my job tomorrow and start that with you. And they did, and we we made every mistake you can make. First off, I thought, after building and selling a landscaping business, I thought, okay, I know everything there is to know about business, and this should be easy because this will be software, and I won't have like all of these like headaches, like mechanics and crew foremen and trucks and pesky customers and contract renewals and all of these things. And so I thought this will actually be easy. It'll just be, we'll build the software and we'll market it
Yeah.
and we'll be off and going, and that was kind of what lured me into it. And then I guess it was about 3 months in, I realized, like, wow, this is way harder than the other thing. And the thing that nobody told me about was that there's a big difference between building a business, a landscaping business, a construction company, versus inventing something brand new that does not exist, and putting it into the and getting people to understand that it exists and understand that they should use it, and to connect with it when they need it. And that's a lot harder
Yeah.
than just building a traditional business. And so that was just something we had to grind our way through, teaching ourselves how to build software, teaching ourselves how to market software, how to design software. YouTube University all day, YouTube University all day, building and coding all night, 7 days a week for the first 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
Took 3 years to get our first 100 customers.
Wow.
And we just focused on is the number of transactions per week, and can we double that number? We did not worry about anything else. And so with GreenPal, the first year we ended the number of transactions per week of like 40 transactions per week. And we thought, okay, we just got to get it to 100. Took another year to get it to 100. And then we thought, okay, we just got to get it to 200. And then we did that in a couple months. Okay, now we got to get it to, let's say, 500. And we just focused on that one number, moving that one number of transactions between buyers and sellers on our system, and growing that number. And that's still the number that we grow. We don't really worry about much else other than growing that number of transactions per week.
Man, Brian, what kept you motivated to keep on going? That's a grind, and you're not
Yeah,
making money doing this,
no,
and it's
no,
like that's a
no. It was 6 years before I paid myself anything, and I still pay myself way below market rate because I wanted to reinvest the capital back in the
yeah,
business.
yeah,
And my co-founder is the same story. And what kept us going was a couple things. Personally, my psychology, when I sold my first business and I tried to kind of like hang it up and just become like an investor, I realized I didn't like that. I said, okay, I'm gonna do the next thing, and then no matter what, I'm just gonna for the next 10 years work on my best idea, and that's it. I'm not gonna do anything else. I'm just gonna take my best idea and throw everything I got into it. And
hmm,
GreenPal, order a lawn mowing service from your smartphone without making a phone call, even if your grass is 4 feet tall, was my best idea. Here we are 10, 11 years later. It's still my best idea. I've got no other ideas. This is it. And like that helps eliminate a lot of FOMO, where it's just like you
hmm,
see the overnight successes of other founders in the tech press or in the business press. And,
yeah,
and you're like, oh man, why can't my business be like that? Well, you
yeah,
didn't have that idea. And even if you did, you didn't execute against it. So it doesn't matter. And so that's the way I looked at it. And so I just said, okay, no matter what, I'm going to get up every day and just work on this idea and just focus on just this one damn number. How many people this week, and growing that number every week. And that simplicity of it is kind of what eliminated a lot of the other like second guessing, I guess you could say.
yeah, man, that's cool. So you go on to GreenPal, and so I just go on there, and if I want my lawn
Green
mowed,
greenpal.com, anywhere in the United States, if you live in a town with over 10,000 people, you pop your address in, you'll start getting free quotes from lawn mowing
hmm,
services nearby you. You
hmm,
can then read reviews, what other people have said about them, and then we score them. We score them. How often do they show up on time? How often are
hmm,
they getting booked for like second, third, and fourth visits? Because that's a good indicator if people like
yeah,
them or not.
yeah,
And then so now you have all this rich data where you can make an informed decision, save money doing it, get somebody to come out that day in most cases. And if you liked it, you just push another button, and they come every week, every 2 weeks. And it's the easiest with one non-glamorous chore done.
yeah, yeah. That's cool. How do you, as a business, is it easy to get on there, or like if you're the kid pushing a lawnmower wanting to get started, can you go and create a GreenPal account and start getting
That's
your
really why we exist. Yeah, it's a nice convenience for consumers and homeowners and home renters to just be able to push a button and get lawn mowing like ordering on DoorDash. But really, the reason why we exist is to be a one place where somebody who wants to work hard in their business can just grow their biggest business as big as they want.
yeah,
So getting you from like 5 or 10 customers to 100 in a year, that's our job. That's the platform's job, and helping you get new equipment, helping you pay off student loan debt, getting into a house, putting a kid through college. We have hundreds, thousands of these stories, and really why we do what we do. Now that said, there is now a waiting list in most cities because we have to
mm,
balance supply and demand. If there's
mm,
too many providers on the network, then it becomes a race to the bottom, and then nobody wins. And so we're always measuring that.
mm.
Um, and
That's
so there
that's
is a
very wise. Yeah, I like that.
it yeah, it's like if you get on Airbnb and there's not enough houses or too many houses, and there's not enough reviews, or the pricing's all weird. Like balancing the supply and demand on these marketplaces is part of what it takes to run a good one. And so we're cognizant of that. But now there's a waiting list. But for the longest time, it was me dialing for dollars on Craigslist. Hey,
Mm.
we're building this thing. It doesn't really work very well right now, but if you can see the vision and use it to run your landscaping business, I promise you, we can get you 100 customers. That was the pitch for like the first 3 years. But now it's working, and thousands of landscaping companies use it.
That's great. Yeah, I could see that being a difficult pitch to start with. Hey, by the way, it doesn't work yet.
Not
It's gonna
it
promise.
kind of works. It
Yeah.
was Wizard of Oz style for many years. It was a interface that was funky, and then it was us behind the curtain making all the magic happen. Phone calls, text messages,
Oh, that's so great.
emails, like just cranking the wheel on it, and then slowly building the processes around that was how we did it for many years. And I don't miss those days at all.
Brian, this has been great. I love these two. You've got two stories of grinding your way to success, and Green Pal is still evolving and growing, and you guys have your numbers you're still pushing to hit, and got to get there. And this is a pretty, I think it's an amazing tool for people who run a landscaping business, people who, and quite frankly, this tool could continue to expand to multiple service industries. But to people who just, hey, I need my lawnmower. Like the guy who's going out of town for 2 weeks could use Green Pal, right? Just
Totally, that's what we're here for.
yeah, right. And what a great tool. Um, yeah, so I love these stories of the grind and getting through. I want to know what's a mistake. Talk through a mistake that you've made. I mean, you've mentioned a couple, I guess, already, but talk through a mistake you've made and how have you learned from it? How can our listeners learn from it?
Pretty much every single time I've ever delegated something that I didn't know how it worked, it's blown up in my face. And
Hmm.
that went for the landscaping company, and it goes for Green Pal. Like, so in the landscaping company, I tried to delegate all the sales. A lot about sales, and I tried to hire a sales guy because I didn't want to do the cold calls. I didn't want to go into the client meetings. I didn't want to sit in the lobby for an hour and 45 minutes just hoping a guy would take a meeting with me. I didn't want to do any of that. So I tried to hire somebody to go do it. And then like they would just kind of spin their wheels and do it half-ass, and until I just figured, okay, I gotta do it for like 3 years, and then I gotta like codify my playbook around it.
Yeah.
Then I need to hire somebody to do that. And that's delegation from stewardship. I am giving you the playbook, and this is how I want you to do it. This is how I expect you to do it, and these are what the results that I expect. Not delegation from like abdication. It's like I don't know how to do it. I don't want to do it. You handle it.
Yeah.
Every single time I have tried to do that, it's never worked. So that was in the first kind of journey, and now the second journey building Green Pal, same thing. I didn't know how to code when we built this thing, and so I tried to hire a development shop to build what I thought Green Pal should be, and they took a year and 200 grand of my money and delivered a piece of crap that did not work.
Hmm.
Then I had to kind of learn how to build. Co-founders did too, and so then we could delegate the building of the software from a position of stewardship. Hey, this is what we got. Here's what we expect. Here's how we expect it to work. And now you do what we tell you to do because we
Yeah.
know it's the right thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the big mistake that I've made. And I'm still making it today. Just be aware, like try to delegate from a position of stewardship. This is how I believe it should work. You handle it, and follow my game plan that I give you.
Yeah, it's really difficult to delegate something you have either no interest in, no care about. Like you said, like on the sales, like you didn't want to go do the sales. So you try to delegate it. But when you don't know how it should be done, how it can be done, it's really hard then to get somebody in there and
You don't
have them
know.
be
You
successful.
you don't know what success looks like.
Yeah.
You don't know what the budget should be, how long it should take, what
Yeah.
results. I mean, I'm I mean, I've made that mistake so many times, still making it.
You're setting them up for failure, really, in
Yeah,
yourself, right?
no, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or maybe you might get lucky, but I never did.
You can get lucky. Yeah, certainly, certainly. But I know I like that. Understand what you're delegating first before you just go and delegate it.
And by the
Uh,
way, the goal to this is Elon Musk. It doesn't matter the Tesla manufacturing floor. He can speak to somebody who's automating manufacturing. Then he can run over to SpaceX and talk to somebody in rocket engineering, and then he can go over to X.com and talk to somebody about user retention. Literally knows these things from principles,
yep.
all of it. And
Yep.
so you have to think like, okay, where's Elon Musk and where's me, and like close that gap by like half an inch,
Yeah.
and just work on the next half inch. That's the standard.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be a pretty cool standard if you can get to that level. I don't know. That guy's a
Half an
machine.
inch. That's
Yeah,
the
half an
goal.
inch,
Half
half
an
an
inch.
inch. There you go. All right. A couple last questions before we wrap up. What's a favorite book that you can recommend to our listeners?
You know, I made the decision that I wasn't going to read any more. Well, I said not anymore. I was going to try to read the same 10 books over and over again rather than like
I
read
like
10
it.
new books every year.
Yep.
And like so that's what that's the kick I'm on here in the last couple of years, is rereading the ones that really stood out. And one that I always go back to is Seven Habits of Highly Effective People,
Mm.
Dr. Stephen Covey. It's a
Yep.
great manual on living an effective life as a person, as a father, or as a husband, or as a business leader, as an entrepreneur, as a founder. Like just 7 critical things that we all suck at, that nobody's taught us how to do right. And this book is kind of a manual on how to think about them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good book. And I like doing the same thing. I don't know that I haven't picked out like 10 necessarily, but I like doing the same thing. I've got a
Yeah.
bookshelf full of books and it's like, why do I need to read 300 different books and not apply any of the principles? Let's just focus on a few that are really solid and
That's
then apply those principles.
that's exactly right. It's like it's not, oh, because we get seduced by this idea that the answer is in the next book, but the
Yeah.
reality is like the answer is in the intensity of executing what it is you've already learned in these other books. Like intensity is the strategy, and that's where you need to spend your time. And but we all like the idea of, okay, the new flashy business book
Yeah.
it's got the
Yeah.
cool cover, and we
Yeah.
feel like we're doing something by reading it. And it's probably slightly better than doing nothing, but
It's better than doing nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you're probably better off visiting like the core principles that are
Mm.
foundational to who you are and what your style is. And like, because every time you read them every 2 or 3 years, they really mean a different thing.
They do. Yeah.
And that's the thing about Seven Habits. Like I've read it or listened to it on audible maybe 10 times in the last 20 years. And it's like every time I revisit it, it's like a new unlock. It's like,
Yep.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that. This is the 10th time I've read this book, but I don't remember that. I don't remember that piece. And it was like, yeah, I just wasn't ready to receive it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Mm-hmm.
a really good manual.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Brian, last question for you. What are your 3 pillars of wealth creation?
Oh, the 3 pillars of wealth creation. Uh, for me, like my story has been C student, average guy, nothing really spectacular, kind of grinded on one thing for 10, 20, 30 years and kind of built a little something out of it. And something looking back, there's a couple things that stand out. One was the interesting like phenomenon of the blue collar millionaire that I saw when I was building my landscaping business. And what I saw was like these guys working really hard, flying under the radar, running around in overalls and dirty boots. And like they had more money than my clients who were like doctors, lawyers, professionals. And like they were the ones at the real estate auctions buying up real estate. And then like I had a lawyer who bounced a check to me. And it's just like, but he drove a BMW. This guy drove a 20-year-old Chevy truck
Yeah.
with the bed half beat off of it. And so that was an interesting thing that I learned building my landscaping company. And what I learned from that was the process of taking low quality revenue and turning it into high quality revenue. And so what you'd have a guy running a bulldozer charging $225 an hour, but that dude owns 14 rental houses. How is that possible? Well, it's just like, because 12 years ago he was still wearing Wranglers, but he was going to the real estate auctions, and he was taking what little money that he was making and buying up rental property. And then I had another guy who say similar thing, backhoe operator, and this was about 2012, and he was telling me that he was buying up all kinds of Salesforce.com. And it's just like, but you run a backhoe, and he's like, yeah, but no, this thing's going to hit. And so it was just this interesting thing where I was just like, I would see these guys running these like non-glamorous businesses, and they were taking the money they were making from them and investing it into high quality revenue. And that stuck out to me, and I still do it to this day. And so, so if that's one pillar, two pillars, that would be the main pillar for me, is like grinding out something where you can make some money and then turning that into high quality revenue. So then you get to unlock to where you can then do more of what you want to do every day. And I've been working on GreenPal for over a decade, but I really haven't worked a day in 10 years because it's always been what I wanted to do that day. So investing the money you make from the grind to high quality stuff to give you the freedom to do for you to do whatever it is you want every day, to me is what success looks like.
Yeah, man, we can just leave it right there. I think that's beautiful. How can our listeners get in touch with you? You mentioned greenpal.com, right?
That's it, man. Anybody want to check it out? Greatest way to get a lawn mowing service to come mow your yard today. Anybody want to hit me up? Just find me on LinkedIn. Google my name, Bryan Clayton, LinkedIn. You'll find me there. Or hit me up. You can email me, Bryan at yourgreenpal.com, or Instagram is another one. If you just Google my name, you'll find it.
Cool. Bryan, again, man, really appreciate it. Can't wait to see GreenPal and how it continues to grow.
Awesome, Todd. Thanks for having me on. I enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, take care.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you being a loyal listener. I would love to have you go on to our Facebook page and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Go on to iTunes or wherever you listen and give us a rating and review. Don't forget to subscribe. Your rating and review just helps us push this out to more and more people and continue to grow our audience and hopefully positively affect a ton of people out there that really need this and want this. So the other thing I've got for you is a free ebook on my website. So go on to venturedproperties.com, and download our free ebook on real estate and on syndication. And I've got some data points in there, some really good stuff for you. So I'd love to have you take a look at that. It's free. I'm not expecting anything from it. And also, look, if you want some help in multifamily, want some help learning, growing, getting your business off the ground, I would love to talk to you about what it would look like to work with me potentially and see if that's a good fit. So you can go to coachwithdex.com and check that out, and we can definitely have a call. Thanks a lot for listening. You make it a fantastic rest of the day. I'll catch you on the next episode.